I came home from burying my husband and saw an empty driveway. His car was gone. The 1967 Mustang, tandy apple red. The car he'd restored himself over 3 years. The car he proposed to me. The car we drove away from our wedding in. The car that still smelled like him. Gone. I called my father. He'd been watching the house during the funeral. "Dad, where's Daniel's Mustang?" "Oh, we sold it. Got $42,000. A cash buyer came the same day we listed it. Great deal. You need money for funeral costs, right? We deposited it in your account." They sold my dead husband's car. At the same time I was at his funeral, without asking me. 3 hours after I buried the love of my life, they'd sold the one thing I had left that was completely his. I'm Lauren Mitchell, 33 years old. My husband Daniel died 2 weeks ago. Sudden heart attack, age 34. No warning. One day he was here, the next he was gone. Yesterday, I buried him. While I was at the cemetery saying goodbye, my parents sold his most prized possession, the car he'd spent years restoring, worth far more than $42,000, worth everything to me. They thought they were helping, thought I needed money, thought a car was just metal and wheels. They were wrong. And what I found out about that sale, about where the money really went, made me realize this wasn't help. This was theft. Want to know what happens when grief meets betrayal? Keep watching. This gets dark. Hit like if you've lost someone you loved. Comment on your city. What you're about to hear is about grief, betrayal, and why some people see tragedy as an opportunity. To understand what they took, you need to understand what that car meant, not just to Daniel, to us. The car, 1967 Ford Mustang Fastback. Daniel bought it 7 years ago, his dream, a total rust bucket, barely ran, cost him $8,000. "I'm going to restore her," he told me on our second date. Original engine, cherry red paint, cream interior, exactly how she rolled off the line in '67. I thought he was crazy. The car was a mess. But Daniel was an engineer, meticulous, patient, obsessed with getting things right. 3 years of restoration. Every weekend, every evening after work. Sometimes I'd sit in the garage with him, handing him tools, watching him work. He rebuilt the engine himself, sourced original parts, spent hours researching correct paint codes, interior fabrics, and chrome details. Total invested, original purchase, $8,000, parts and materials, $31,000, professional paint job, $6,500, chrome and finishing, $4,500, total $50,000. Plus hundreds of hours of his labor, his expertise, his love. The proposal. Year 3 of restoration, the car was finally done. Perfect. Gleaming. Daniel drove it to my apartment, picked me up. Want to go for a drive? We drove to the coast. Sunset. Ocean views. He pulled over at our favorite spot. Got down on one knee right there next to the Mustang. "Lauren, I spent 3 years making this car perfect. I want to spend the rest of our life making our life perfect. Will you marry me?" I said yes, cried, kissed him in front of that beautiful car. The wedding. We drove away from our reception in the Mustang, tin cans trailing behind, just married sign in the back with the happiest day of my life. The memories. Sunday drives, road trips. He taught me to drive a stick shift in that car. Date nights where we'd just drive and talk, the smell of leather and his cologne mixed. That car was Daniel's, his dream, his work, his personality in metal form. Careful, precise, beautiful, classic. When he died 2 weeks ago, a sudden heart attack at 34, that car became my last piece of him, the thing he touched, built, loved. I wasn't ready to even sit in it yet, too painful, but I'd go to the garage just to see it, to remember him. And my parents sold it while I was burying him. Let me walk you through the timeline so you understand how calculated this was. Morning, 9 a.m., funeral service. I was barely holding it together. Daniel's parents, my parents, friends, coworkers, everyone was there to say goodbye. My mother hugged me. "We'll handle everything at the house. You focus on Daniel. We've got you." My father, "Don't worry about logistics. We're taking care of it all." I thought they meant food, guests, normal funeral help. 10:30 a.m., burial, cemetery, watching them lower my husband into the ground. Worst moment of my life. Timeline I didn't know about happening simultaneously. 9:45 a.m., my father listed the Mustang on ClassicCars.com. 1967 Mustang Fastback, fully restored, original engine, show quality, $42,000 firm, cash only, must sell today. $42,000 for a car worth at least $75,000 in that condition. Show quality restored 1967 fastbacks go for $80,000 to $100,000. He underpriced it for a quick sale. 10:15 a.m., buyer responded, "I'll take it. Can I see it in 1 hour?" 11:30 a.m., while I was still at the cemetery, the buyer arrived at my house. My father showed him the car, Daniel's car, his baby. 12 p.m., sale completed. $42,000 cash. My father signed the title as if he had the right. 12:30 p.m., a flatbed truck pulled up, loaded the Mustang, drove away. 1 p.m., I arrived home from the funeral. Empty driveway. My husband's car is gone. Total time from listing to gone, 3 hours. They planned this, timed it, did it while I was distracted, grieving, vulnerable. When I called my father and heard he sold the car, I couldn't breathe, couldn't speak. You sold Daniel's car?" "Yes, we got a great price, $42,000. I deposited it in your account. You'll need money for funeral costs, medical bills, getting back on your feet." "That wasn't your car to sell." "Honey, you're upset. You're not thinking clearly. That car was just sitting there. You can't even drive it. It's a stick shift. You need practical help, not a garage ornament." "That was Daniel's car. He built that. He spent 3 years restoring it. That was the car he proposed in." "Exactly. It's a painful reminder. We were helping you move forward." "I didn't ask you to help. I didn't ask you to sell anything." My mother got on the phone. "Lauren, we know you're grieving, but that car was worth the money you needed. We made a good decision for you." "Where's the money? You said you deposited it." "Yes, in your account. Check your bank." I checked. There was nothing. No $42,000 deposit.
Give it a day or two. Cash deposits sometimes take time to clear. Cash deposits are immediate. Where's the money? Silence. "Mom, Dad, where is the $42,000? My father cleared his throat. We used some of it for immediate expenses, funeral costs, medical bills. We were going to give you the rest." "How much did you use?" About 30,000, but we needed it. Your mother's car needed repairs. We had some credit card debt, medical bills for my surgery last year." My vision went red. You sold my husband's car to pay your debts? We were going to pay you back. This was just temporary. We knew you'd understand once you weren't so emotional. I hung up, drove to their house immediately. I walked into their house without knocking. Show me the receipts, all of it, now. My father tried to calm me down. Lauren, you're being irrational. Show me the receipts. They did, eventually. Bank statements, credit card bills, the truth. The $42,000 breakdown. Funeral costs, $8,500. Legitimate, I had agreed to this. Mom's car repairs, $4,200. Their expense, not mine. Credit card debt, $12,800. Their debt, not mine. Medical bills for my surgery last year, $7,300. Their bills, not mine. House repairs, $5,600. New furniture, I saw the receipts. Miscellaneous, $3,600. Restaurants, shopping, entertainment. Total they kept, $33,500. Legitimate funeral expenses, $8,500. Actually deposited to me, $0. They'd spent it all on themselves within days. We were going to pay you back, my mother insisted. Once we got our tax return, once Dad's bonus came, we just needed to borrow it temporarily. You can't borrow something that was already mine. That car belonged to Daniel's car, the car I inherited. You had no right. You're our parents. We've helped you your whole life. Now we needed help, and so you stole from your grieving daughter at her husband's funeral? My father's face hardened. Don't be dramatic. It was just a car. You would have sold it eventually anyway. It was Daniel's car. He built that car. That was the last thing I had that was completely his. You have pictures, memories. You don't need a car. I looked at them, really looked. These people raised me, and they'd just stolen from me on the worst day of my life. I want the money, all $42,000. You have 30 days, or I'm filing a police report for theft and suing you in civil court. You wouldn't. 30 days. Every penny, or I press charges. I called a lawyer that day. He reviewed everything, the timeline, the sale, the title transfer, where the money went. They committed theft. Clear case. You're the legal heir to Daniel's estate. That car was yours. They had no authority to sell it, and they kept the proceeds. That's theft, fraud, multiple felonies. Can we get the car back? Probably not. It was sold to a good faith buyer who had no idea it was being sold without proper authority. But you can sue your parents for the car's true value, not $42,000, the actual market value. We researched, found 3 comparable sales of restored 1967 Mustang Fastbacks in the past 6 months. Actual market value, $78,000 to $85,000. My parents sold an $80,000 car for $42,000, then stole most of that money. Total damages, $80,000, true value, plus emotional distress, plus punitive damages. I filed suit, criminal complaint with the police, gave them everything. My parents' response? They hired a lawyer, claimed they had implied authority to handle my affairs during my grief, that they were helping, that I was being vindictive. The police report detailed the timeline. The sale occurred during the funeral. Money was not deposited into my account as promised, spent on their personal expenses within days. No documentation of any agreement. Criminal charges filed: theft over $50,000, felony, fraud, exploitation of a vulnerable person. Civil trial, 3 months later. The evidence was overwhelming. Timeline proved they timed the sale when I couldn't stop it. Bank records showed where the money went. They had zero documentation of any authority to sell. Verdict: parents ordered to pay $80,000, car's actual value, $15,000, emotional distress, $12,000, legal fees. Total, $107,000. Criminal plea deal: plead guilty to felony theft, 2 years probation, restitution in full, felony records. They had to mortgage their house, liquidate retirement accounts, sell their cars. They're paying me $2,000 monthly for 4 years to repay what they stole. That was 8 months ago. My parents are paying restitution, $2,000 monthly, made 3 payments so far. We don't speak. They call occasionally, leave voicemails. "We're sorry. We were trying to help. Can't we move past this?" Move past it? They sold my dead husband's most prized possession while I was burying him, stole the money, spent it on themselves. There's no moving past that. The car is gone. I'll never get it back. The buyer was legitimate, not his fault my parents committed fraud. But I have the money now, $80,000. I put it in a trust for Daniel's memory. Donate interest to a cardiac foundation, in his name. The car that rebuilt Hearts Fund. Daniel would like that, turning something stolen into something that helps others. What I learned? Grief makes you vulnerable. Some people see vulnerability as opportunity, even family, especially family. Trust is earned, and biological relationships don't mean unconditional access to your life, your property, or your pain. Document everything, always. I have the title, the insurance, the registration. Proof the car was mine. That's what won the case. I'm Lauren Mitchell. My husband, Daniel, died at 34. The day I buried him, my parents sold his restored 1967 Mustang without asking me, without my permission. They kept the money, $33,500 of it, spent it on their debts and wants. I sued them. Won $107,000 in civil court. They're serving felony probation and paying restitution monthly. We don't speak. We won't again. Hit subscribe if grief has taught you who people really are. Smash like if you've had to fight for what was yours. Remember, some people see tragedy as opportunity. Document everything. Protect yourself, even from family. My parents thought my grief made me weak, made it easy to take from. They learned grief made me fierce. Made me unwilling to let them steal from Daniel's memory. The car is gone, but his memory is protected, and my parents are paying for what they took. For the next 4 years, every month, they'll remember the day they stole from their grieving daughter, and I'll remember the day I learned family doesn't mean loyalty. It means biology. Loyalty is earned. They lost mine, forever. Daniel deserved better. So did I. Now we both have justice.